Danny Thomas was one of television's most beloved and enduring entertainers. Danny Thomas was known as many things: actor, producer, and father. But what most people probably don't know is he was also one of the most charitable men of the 1900s. Most people probably know him for his leading roles of many different TV shows. You could say he was a leader of the television world. Many people might know him from the 1953 hit show Make Room for Daddy, or The Danny Thomas Show. He was also a leader in something else, and the legacy he left will inspire generations to come. Danny Thomas was born on January 6, 1912, on a horse farm in his hometown of Deerfield, Michigan. His parents, Charles Yakub Karras and Margaret Chalk, were immigrants from Lebanon. They gave him the name Amos Muzyad Yakub Karras. He grew up in Michigan with 8 siblings. He got his first taste of the entertainment world at age 11, selling candy and ice cream in the aisles of a burlesque house. He started as a struggling entertainer during the Great Depression, doing a few different jobs for radios and commercials. Thomas was known by the name Amos Jacobs when he got a job as a radio show host in Detroit at WNBC Studios. The show was called The Happy Hour Club. Danny then got cast as the leading male role in The Danny Thomas Show.
Many famous movie producers wanted him to work for them, but he declined. Then he went on to star in several movies like The Unfinished Dance in 1947, The Big City in 1948, Call Me Mister in 1951, and I'll See You in My Dreams in 1951. Danny Thomas also starred in The Jazz Singer in 1953. He portrayed Al Jolson.
Give me a melody.
As his career as a comedian progressed, he started shifting into the movie producing business. Working with Sheldon Leonard and Aaron Spelling, they produced The Andy Griffith Show, The Dick Van Dyke Show, and many other popular shows. Throughout his acting career, Thomas continued to work in a nightclub. Danny Thomas was known for a strong religious faith. He was Roman Catholic.
He often said that in the difficult early days of his career, when his wife was urging him to give up show business and get a regular job, he prayed to St. Jude Thaddeus, the patron saint of hopeless causes.
St. Jude's Hospital was not called St. Jude's for no reason. Danny Thomas's story was truly heartwarming. When Danny Thomas's wife was in labor, the hospital fee was more than Danny could manage. Danny Thomas had $10 in his pocket while the hospital bill was $50. Danny thought it was time to go to church and pray. When he arrived at the church, the saint in the sermon that day was St. Jude. In his prayer, he asked, "St. Jude, please give me a sign to help me find my way in life. Just give me a sign that I'm going in the right direction, and someday I'll build a shrine in your name." Then he took $7 out of his pocket and put it into the collection basket and said to St. Jude, "I need 10 times that amount to get my family out of the hospital." Shortly after, he got a call to play a toothbrush in a radio commercial. The pay was $75. That was the sign that Danny was looking for.
After years of success, Danny thought it was time for him to fulfill his promise to St. Jude. He thought the way to thank the saint of the hopeless was to build a hospital for the most helpless children of all. When the hospital doors opened, it was a place for children with hopeless diseases. This hospital would be for anyone. No matter their religion or race, or if they couldn't manage to pay, no child would get turned away. St. Jude's Hospital was the most non-discriminatory public hospital of the time. Danny Thomas was thinking ahead when the hospital doors opened. The 1960s were a time of segregation, but Danny led the way to an equal opportunity for every race. The doors would always be open to every child. Danny then went to Chicago to see his friend Cardinal Stritch, to ask for help in creating his dream. Danny knew he wanted to make his hospital in the South. Cardinal Stritch agreed to make the hospital only if it were in Memphis. Danny was confused on why Memphis. Cardinal Stritch wanted Memphis because that was his hometown and he had a lot of connections there. When Danny went to Memphis, he was told not to build just another hospital. He was to build a hospital that did research and treatment to children with catastrophic diseases. St. Jude opened in 1962.
St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is located in Memphis, Tennessee. It is one of the world's premier pediatric cancer research centers. Research efforts are directed at understanding the molecular, genetic, and chemical basis of the diseases in children, identifying cures for such diseases, and making sure that they try their best to prevent it. There are about 7,800 active patients in the hospital. A walk happens every single year for St. Jude's to help raise money for the children. This year's walk happened November 22, 2014. If you look to the bottom left of the St. Jude's logo, it says ALSAC. ALSAC stands for American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities. ALSAC is a fundraising organization of St. Jude's. It was founded in 1957. It is also the third largest healthcare-related charity in the United States, a nonprofit organization that Danny Thomas founded. The CEO is Richard C. Shadyac Jr. He who denies his heritage has no heritage. This quote describes how Danny Thomas took pride in its culture, which is connected to ALSAC. During the time when Danny Thomas was active with ALSAC, his culture, Lebanese and Syrian, was looked down upon because of what controversies they were having with the United States. So Danny Thomas didn't deny his heritage and connected the St. Jude's Hospital with ALSAC. This is something many people didn't do during this time.
The patients of the hospital are like a family. The doctors, nurses, and volunteers are caring towards the patients. Marlo, Danny Thomas's daughter, and her siblings have taken over the hospital since their father died. Marlo helped St. Jude keep on going. She starred in the sitcom That Girl. This sitcom showed women being independent and able to survive without having a man by their side. Marlo Thomas was also a feminist. Marlo and her siblings used to call St. Jude's their other family, but now they call them their own family. They have even been to their graduations, weddings, and even their funerals. In St. Jude's, people can volunteer at the hospital. Their doors are always open to ordinary people. There is a program in St. Jude's called the Volunteens. The Volunteens will provide activities for the patients and family every day. The teens will develop a connection towards St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Over the 2 weeks of their volunteering, they will leave knowing how other people live a different lifestyle. President Ronald Reagan presented Danny Thomas with the Congressional Gold Medal for his work with St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. He presented the award to him on April 16, 1984. The Congressional Gold Medal of Honor is the highest award bestowed by the United States Congress to persons who performed an achievement that has an impact on American history and culture that is likely to be recognized as a major achievement in the recipient's field long after the achievement. Another award Danny received for his work with St. Jude is the Knight Commander with the Star and Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. He received this award from Pope Paul VI. This award was the highest honor that could be bestowed to a layman. One more award Danny won was the Layman Award. The American Medical Association presented this to him, and it is the highest honor to a non-medical person. One last award or honor Danny got was his own postal stamp. This stamp was a first-class forever stamp. The stamp honored Danny as an entertainer and a humanitarian. The Danny Thomas Forever stamp features an oil-on panel painting depicting a smiling tuxedo-clad Thomas in the foreground and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in the background. These were the awards that Danny got that weren't involved with his acting career, but for the legacy he left for everyone. On the 6th of February 1991, Danny Thomas passed away at 79 years old. Thomas died after a heart attack at his Beverly Hills home. Danny Thomas was a spectacular man. He left a leadership and legacy in the foundation of St. Jude's. His legacy will live on forever in his name. He built one of the best research centers for not just cancer, but catastrophic diseases too. It set an example for other hospitals and research centers. Many other research hospitals were made after St. Jude's.
And the first project is a crash program into the mysteries of leukemia. Years ago,
he left behind the legacy of ALSAC, which we still use till this day. It fundraises for thousands of children in the hospital, and it all started with one promise to St. Jude: "Help me find a way in life, and I will build you a shrine." With that, he saved thousands of children's lives and left behind the world's greatest research hospital, and we will remember him as a great charitable man.